Welcome to Guysuco Roundup. I'm Angela Abraham Parks. Our second installment for the anniversary edition of Guysuco Roundup directs you to the contribution of non-operational departments, which also complements developing a livelihood for thousands of employees and their families in varied roles. Join me after the break for more Guysuco Roundup.
From the very land that gave sugar around the world the name Demerara comes the finest quality of cane sugar, Demerara Gold. Enjoy the real thing from the original source, the rich, fertile Demerara coastline where sugarcane has been harvested since the mid-17th century. The result is here for you to enjoy. Wherever this unique sugar flavor is needed, Demerara Gold is the ingredient that will always create a stir.
Welcome back. Our business has been in existence for centuries and has benefited from nationalization in 1976. Centuries on, management of this traditional business is prioritized by maintaining good occupational health and safety records while stabilizing an industrial relations climate.
Agreement is put in place to remove chaotic practice. So you don't run east, he run west, and they run all four directions. The agreement is there to put system in place so you know what you have to do. That agreement is being manned by me centrally. System, you're an employee of this company. You have a concern, your first responsibility is to raise a concern with your contract employer, the person who you work with, not the representative. It is the responsibility of the management to address your concern. If he or she fails within 2 or 3 days, then it becomes a grievance. Complain to your rep. You have contact us to the manager. What we saw happen in the factory last year was something new. You won't tolerate it again. Because we've had practice in this industry where we deal with people who misbehave like that. In the lockdown, you have problems also with standards. If we don't put it right, there's a whole chain of mismanagement you will have. Problems all over. Now, if we have thoughts in an industry that don't think for the industry, then they don't belong to the industry. We are going to think for the industry. And there's some positives that your manager would have shown you, which you are contributing to. So among yourself, when you learn your colleague, when you do wrong thing, you gotta stop him. Right? You gotta stop him. This crop is starting 1 month earlier this year than when it started last year. It's starting in a season where we don't hide your head. It's a serious season, right? At the end of this month is politics. Crap go down there 3 weeks ago. We know what has happened in this country. You have to decide if you go answer the call to the people who you feel will lead you, or you answer the call to your own packet in the party. The attendance last crop improved tremendously at the beginning of the crop across the industry. I check it every year. In the last 5 years, it was between 53 to 57% across the industry. Last year, it ended up at 68%. There is no problem. People can't come to work and not coming to work. They are coming to work. But among your set, you have a few in the industry. You got about less than 8,000 people, say 812 person currently working with this sugar industry. You got about 850 not qualified. Right? 850 is an expense to this company because you have to give them cutlass, cutlass file, you have to do safety boots, helmet, bring them a truck, got to pay ENIS. It's a cost. I know that people got garden, farm, whatever. At the end of the day, you have to decide which work is primary. The company is going to be advised someday to take some of them. At least you're going to start from the bottom. The worst one that will have to go. Now, again, as I said, the crop is a big crop. From a 6-week, 7-week crop to close to a 12-week crop. You carry it to the early May. You need to put your head in the right place, put your shoulder in your top to the walk. Actually break a period, and then you have the people drop down to, right? And then the night you walk up from work, and then somebody came got not qualified. So it is the sum of the parts that make the whole. If everybody don't contribute, if you got 5 cane cut, what the information is saying that 1 in every 5 is not working. Then 2 now work. Like I said this morning, you do Guysuco, you carry rice, you carry salt, you carry pepper, you carry fish, you carry coconut, you carry shallot. You don't want to serve a plate, right? You don't bring nothing. Easy that food. Well, that too is like them people who are walking plate. And that contributes nothing to the work. And they deny you from getting where you got a benefit from. This is an estate that used to make 13, 14 days pay, at least in the second crop.
In the last week of April, that entire week, the working week, Guysuco factories and agricultural operation will be audited. It will be a safety audit will be done across the company. And this is a very important audit because this will be checking our compliance relative to safety and health practices that is expected from our purchasers, those who buy our sugar. So they would have set a checklist, and we don't have a choice. We have to conform to those checklists, or else it will go against us. So they're going to do a pre-audit through Tate & Lyle. Tate & Lyle, they're going to do a pre-audit, and that would be through the last week of April. And that will give us an idea where we are in relation to that Proterra standard. The ISO standard in relation to safety and health, the company has not signed on to that. But what the Proterra audit is doing is allow you to move to that level.
For the year 2020, we are placing a lot of emphasis on the management system to ensure that we manage safety very closely. This year will also be a challenging year for us in terms of managing occupational health and safety. We have to work as a management team to ensure that we reduce accidents in our working area to get as minimal accident as we can within the working area, because we don't want our employee to sustain injury. And in order to get a better workforce, we have to encourage people to operate in a safe manner, because a lot of times we find that most of the accidents will occur because of incorrect work technique or unsafe work practice within our working area. As you are aware, most of the accidents would come out from the harvesting section, which have the chunk of the workforce, and that is one area that we plan to do a lot of training in 2020 as it relates to incorrect work technique and unsafe work practice within the area.
Guysuco thrives on teamwork. Technical conferences facilitate the teaming of ideas from complementary departments like the agriculture research, which steers the path for pest control and mechanization.
Now, this program has started in 1972. However, there was a period when it was a lapse, and it restarted in 1991 under Mr. Dashrat tenure. From 1991 to 1993, there was a learning curve, and on the 3rd of March 1993, the first batch of cohesive flag belts was sent to Blaymont Estate, where the pilot project was launched. It was proven very successful to control the Diarrhea centrala. From there on, it was extended to all the estates that were operable. Today we have 3 operable estates, and it's well established at all 3. The purpose of this exercise today is to train. It served as a reminder, refresher for some that attended, and some it was a totally new training. What we found over a period of time, the insectary attendants, some of them have changed. So there was a genuine need to train those parts that come into the insectary. Now, we also need to standardize. We also need to standardize the method in which these insectaries are operating. So again, that was another function or another purpose of this morning exercise, to standardize the function in which we actually collect the larvae from the field, look at the quality of larvae we're collecting, the method of stinging, and the care and husbandry of those larvae that are stung. An overall assessment of this morning exercise, I think the participants were very interested in what was discussed, and from the feedback that was given, definitely there were some positive that will be taken to the estates. I trust that we all had a very fruitful day, and we have learned as we are here today from the various estates. I must thank you all for coming, and whatever we learned today, we can go back to our respective estates and put it into practice. For the purpose of research, if you want to implement it, I think we can actually do it on a small scale one site and look at the results.
Alright, so we finish here with iFlood, so we'll take some comments and some points.
But I've learned a lot just now from the way iFlood has demonstrated the handling of the larvae. I think that was great. There was much care with the handling of the larvae, and also the methodology of stinging the larvae was different. Was something I learned earlier, but subsequently, I thought now we would have moved away from that. But I figured this methodology where that they used was very good, and also the demonstration with the shedding of the skeleton, the shedding of the larvae skin, the long head. That was one that I think Aldrin, we used to just sting the larvae and then wonder why it's not parasitized. Which we learned from iFlood here that they would have waited until they shed the outer skin, the head, and sting it back a couple of days after. Also, what was different is that Albion we use a more larger piece of cane. Sometimes the larvae burrow into the cane, and it takes some more time to get out back the larvae from the cane.
Prior to this, we were using a 3.5% gradient on the camel beds, and we were moving excessive materials, and we restricted the plant growth and so on. So this layout has taken all of that into consideration. The other thing that we focus on is the earth movement in its entirety. The fields, as you go into the fields, you might see that there's like a little drop or a depression. That is where the panels end and begins, basically. The reason for that is that because we don't want to put an entire gradient throughout the field, because it requires a lot of material to be moved to get that one slope. So we're actually getting the gradient, but it's on individual panels. One of the other things that we're focusing on is access throughout, because this layout, we're moving material, the cane, by trucks. So everything basically is for mechanization. So why are we thinking mechanization? We need to substitute for the labor. At Albion here, it's an excellent example of what is happening, especially in our peak time, which is harvesting. We find that our labor is so low, that the turnout is so low that it affects what we do. So, and one of the other things is that it attracts or retains farm staff. It increases productivity of the farm. So mechanization generally is not an option for us. We have to go there based on our current position. At Albion, this is just a basic sequence of what we do. As we were out in the field, we saw what we were doing there. We basically carry out the topographic survey with the Beulah. Then we go into our forest harrow. Initially, we used to plow, but we pulled that back because it saves on cost. So rather than plow, we just harrow to create that loose, and it helps us to complete our shaping. Then we shape our beds. Generally, after the shaping of the beds, we apply the LGRP, and that is done mechanically. Then we go into the plowing, and then finally we irrigate the fields. Our current method of irrigation is not what we want to continue with. We hope to get into some overhead irrigation. Coming in from this area here, we're filling this area. We're putting down. Oh yes, the truck is going to be weighed at the scale. Come in, we take the tear weight and we take the
You're adding 10 pounds on your soil. And that soil compaction that you're creating, even though you have a change in structure, will only last for 1 year. So the benefits of flood follow really only last for one crop cycle. After then, the soil will go back to its original state. Also, what you have done by doing the flood follow is bringing in a fresh intake of seeds into your area and then creating siltation as you discharge into the sideline, right? So as we go forward, we're looking at areas how we can reduce this challenge. Initially, we had a gun rain system that we brought into the industry. We are moving from the gun system to a boom system on 4 wheels. And so this is the way that we'll go, where the 4 wheels can cover a complete row, running in the interrow, and the length of the boom could be between 64 meters to 70 meters in length.
We're doing work in terms of the expansion. We have started some land rehabilitation work where we're using laser machine to do land leveling. We started this project in mid-2018 July, and we were able to complete by mid-2019 all the land lasering land preparation in terms of expansion C. We are now at expansion A, which will continue in 2020. And this is a next wing that Central Workshop is fully, or I should say partially in charge of, because the land leveling and lasering is being done by Central Workshop with a team of staff, superintendent and foremen and workers, and then the estate proper, they will take on the tillage in terms of completing the land preparation. Generally, in terms of safety, our main focus is in terms of worker safety, and the environment of the workshop is of paramount importance to manager and worker. I think the morale of Central Workshop employees are very high. They're very innovative. We continue to lose skill, but we are depending on the training school to suffice that shortcoming, and we are encouraging young people to join the apprenticeship so they can become part of Central after their training at the training school. All in all, I think that with materials coming on time, finance improving in our company, we should be able to pull off a better year in 2020. We expect that the continued support from our senior management at head office and across the company will continue.
Using pesticides, they're using aerosols, they're using mosquito coils, they're even accessing illegal products, which we don't know what's in it, but we know that they're cancer causing, and they're using it in the homes, but because they don't think of it as a chemical, as a pesticide, to them, there's a risk. The toxic chemicals, many times we say toxic chemicals and people think only what is being used by the manufacturing sector. Now we have all the gas and we're seeing an influx of all the chemicals coming to that sector. But the detergent you use, the soap powders, the bleaches, the cleaners, have you ever sat and read the label? They're toxic chemicals. It's interesting now we're registering toxic chemicals at the board, because that's one of our regulatory mandates. Sometimes when you're reviewing even a soap powder, I start thinking, really? You see it says it's toxic to aquatic life. When we wash the laundry, what do we do with the water? It goes right into the drains. And it says it can cause irritation of the skin. We don't really pay attention to these things. So these chemicals have impacts to both human health and the environment. This is one of the reasons why we're so passionate, not only about training the persons that are doing urban and domestic pest control, but this is one of the reasons why we're even looking at the broader scheme of things now as to even how we deal with farmers using pesticides in the fields. You know, so today I want to encourage you, even as you go into your world of work, even as you go to do your jobs, work with us. We look forward for our stakeholders to work with us. We cannot do this alone. We're growing as an agency. I think many years ago, if you would have come, you would have seen 10 staff. Today we're 26. And come next year, we're expanding our building to accommodate more staff because we recognize the need for more persons to do what we do. But if we have our stakeholders working with us, then a part of the job is already done. I want to encourage you to work with us and support us as we seek to continue to protect human health and the environment we have.
On our next program, the contributions of the Information Systems Department and factory operations will be featured. Sugar production for the first crop nears 40,000 tons and remains between Albion and Blairmont estates, while Iflot estate is in the out-of-crop period. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's program of Guysuco Roundup. Thank you for staying tuned and do stay safe. Until next time, I'm Angela Abraham Parks. Goodbye.